Hi, Flosstube.
Greetings.
Laura.
I'm Joe.
Welcome to the Slovak Farm.
This is the farm where we grow cross stitch.
One stitch at a time. It is Monday, August 8th. It's a new month. Oh, wait. It was a new month last week because last week was... Okay. Just,
The squirrels are currently wishing they were in bed.
Apparently I... That's where I'm at today. How's everybody today? How's everybody's week? Ours was uneventful.
Thank God.
Thank God is right.
The most eventful thing is we decided to go get the good pool filters because the ones we got less than a week old. I cleaned it in the morning. By the evening, I had to go clean it again because there was no water coming out.
It was awful.
And it's less than a week old.
Yeah, our pool has not been clear at all this summer, but
we learned an important lesson. Don't buy cheap pool filters.
You get what you pay for sometimes. There's clearly a cricket nearby because I can hear it. Anyways, yeah, so, yeah, it was pretty uneventful. So, ooh, and my hair looks horrible because it's been hot since like Wednesday, and I've been in the pool an awful lot, so my hair just looks terrible. We're supposed to be getting storms and a cool down, a minor cool down today. Tomorrow will be a minor cool down. Wednesday's gonna be a little bit warm again, but then Thursday and Friday it'll be nice and comfortable.
It might actually be too cold considering where we're going this weekend.
I know. Saturday it's maybe gonna be 80. We're gonna be inland. Annual family lake weekend is coming up this weekend. We are inland. We'll be off of the lake shore in Ohio. We'll be on Seneca Lake, which is a small inland lake, so it may be warm. I may not be in the lake too much, but if it's warm enough, that's where I'm going to be, because I like water.
I've been spoiled by the pool. I like water where I know I'm not going to step in goop.
Yes. Yeah. That's why you have water shoes.
Still, yuck.
Discovered last year water shoes make the yucky. Not so yucky. Okay. So, yes. And yes, our friends over at yeah, it's just Mad Morty. But it is Morty and her husband David. Morty is not her real name. I'm not sure if I can use her real name, so I'm not going to use it.
I will say, from what I've seen, me and David should go hang out.
I
don't know if the doctor might show up if we do.
Very true. Very true. I crack up when I watch them because he just does a lot of stuff that Joe does. Like,
that was what Mad Morty said too. She's like, "Oh yeah, the husband's just like you." He's
yeah,
like, "Oh
yeah.
God!"
Yeah.
Look on his face, like he didn't know whether to be. So, like, he didn't know if that was the bad thing or a good thing. You can see the look on his face was a second of, I don't know how to react to somebody just like me.
Yes, and when she shouted us out, she said the Slovak Farm, and he goes, "What do they grow?" And she said, "Cross stitch, one stitch at a time." That was fabulous. That was fabulous. She said that we are an acquired taste. And I commented and I said, maybe that's why I commented to her personally, because she is one of my personal friends. We play a cross stitch game together. We've played she was on my team with Myth and Magic. She's on my pirate ship. And I said to her, I'm an acquired taste. Maybe that's why I don't have many friends. She goes, that's not a bad thing. She told me it was not a bad thing, so I guess it's not a bad thing to be an acquired taste. But yeah. So.
Yeah, you have to have a certain level of weird in your life in order to get me. Otherwise, I'm beyond your comprehension, and don't try.
I'm assuming those of you who have joined us from her shout out are prepared for the level of crazy. But so, and a lot of people told me, and several people told me last week in our comments. We'll get to shouting out our commenters in a second. Several people told me last week life's too short to stitch on something I hate. So apparently my support for it's not that I hate it, and it's not that I'm never gonna stitch it again. I'm just pulling it off the stitch on it every 4-week rotation because it was frustrating me big time. Am I going? I do want to continue to put stitches on it, but I think I was just stressing myself out too much with it.
Can I be honest?
What?
You should honestly stitch on that one when you're not doing it by stitch count. That is, if you did that by time,
And
you'd be a lot less stressed.
And I need to remember that because
you got 2 hours worth of stitching done in 5 hours versus stitch count the time, because that thing has so much flipping confetti in it. It's almost an HD image.
Right. And with all of the games that I'm in, except for Daily 30, there is a time, or there is...
Daily 30 did have time options on
Daily 30 has timed option. Daily 30 and Into the Wild are the only two that have the time options. But they're also the only two where I really have to worry about matching it to a prompt and stitching a certain amount. Everything else is just stitch what you stitch, every stitch counts. You know, it's kind of a collective group effort.
So, in all honesty, I would literally just go 2 hours every 4 weeks and then don't look at it again. And you would literally be in love with it much more. The problem is literally you were basically trying to chase somebody through the swamp of sorrows.
I really kind of was.
Thumbs up if you get the reference, and I am also sorry for what it just did to your heartstrings.
Yes. So, I've learned my lesson. Do not put full coverage on my rotations, because I am... Yes, it's only August. I'm thinking ahead to next year already. Because
I've been doing that for months. I bet.
Not really. I think back in July, I really kind of started putting some thought into next year. I do like having the monthly, the every 4 weeks monthly rotation. I'm going to do that again next year. I'm not going to put a full coverage on it because that was a bad idea on my part. If I do put a full coverage on it, it'll be a small full coverage, like one of those. I have a Pana kit that I still need to finish, or that I haven't started it. I finished the one I had.
I just read what Mad Morty's comment was last week, and
about the Cone of Doom eating husbands' wallets.
It equals classic, and I'm just sitting here going, yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, everybody's gonna have stuff they want to spend money on, but I remember when we first got together, you're like, oh my god, video games are so much money. And then after about a month, I'm like, hey, so hold on, how much money have you spent on cross stitch this month?
I actually did not.
And she went, she literally had gone nuts that week.
That month I had gone nuts. Overall, I had not.
No, it was just, I spent X amount of dollars, and she had actually doubled that because she kitted out 2 big projects. And I'm like, look, you spent X amount of dollars on something that's going to give you hours upon hours of joy, almost like a video game. And the sudden realization in her eyes was like, oh.
Yeah. Also, yes, I am old. I'm allowed to say I'm old because I will be 40 in April. I feel old. I have to take these stupid horse pills on a daily basis. And Thursday, I swallowed one wrong, and it hurt for 2 days. I'm old.
You know a pill is huge when they actually have in big letters, swallow whole, do not chew or crush. Because they know if that was an option, everyone would do it.
Because, no. Well, you are right, but it has to be taken whole because of what it is. How it's formulated. It's a long release pill.
Every pill that I've ever taken, you have to take whole. That's just one of the few times I've actually seen it written on the side of it.
Because it's dangerous if you don't.
Yeah. I'm a lot more. I'm just saying, because I think the letters are big because it's so big.
So,
God, I hate pills like that.
And I'm now on a daily medication. I'm old.
So I've been old since I was in the 4th grade.
I'm old because of the daily medication I'm on.
I'm still saying, okay. Comment times.
Let's shout out our commenters.
Hi, y'all, what's up?
Dude, enthusiasm.
You told me to shout them out, and I'm too
This
tired.
is true.
Apologies ahead of time. I'm tired, which means that brake pedal that I use to stop myself from being loud, currently it's like broken. It's like, no, I ran out of brake fluid. So, you've been warned. I'll try, but I don't have brakes. That's a really good way of explaining ADHD. Actually,
You
you have
brakes.
leaky. You have a leak in the brakes lines.
Yes.
So you keep running out of brake fluid.
Yeah.
Okay, Mad Morty, Andre, Glenna, Pauline, Lynn. That's one Lynn, but she commented twice. Victoria, Jen.
Lynn commented 3 times actually.
No. My point is pink, green.
Yeah, I noticed that. It gave you it gave you a change of color. Lynn graduated.
Lynn, I was born in June. You literally graduated right about the same time I was born.
Just before you were born, because you were born at the end of June.
Mm-hmm, but I am sorry, Lynn, but I have to mention this. And I know I probably just made you feel like you belong in a museum. But at least you get to play with Harrison Ford while you're there, because you belong in a museum. Yes, I made that joke. And Teresa, who... Thank you for the disease.
Yes. We're trying to get some sleep.
My middle name is not Z's, it's William.
I had a real great stitching day yesterday. I did not have a real great sleep Saturday night.
Would you like me to sum it up very easily for you? Screw it, I might as well stitch.
That's basically what it was. At 3:30 in the morning, I was awake. I was wide awake by 4:45. I was like, forget it. I'm going downstairs and stitching.
The cat woke us up.
Mm.
Or I think you were already up.
Oh, no, I was already up. I did not. And I think that's why the cat came in the room, because I was up and I had went to the bathroom.
And then I was sort of kind of up, and we decided to cuddle. You know, I love you, good kitty. And she's like, if you go back to sleep, I'm going downstairs. And I was like, bye.
And it was...
I did the exact opposite of what she did. Like, she tried to wake me up at 9, and 40 minutes later, I was out of bed.
Yes.
I was exhausted. And then I broke my sleep schedule, and I couldn't go to sleep last night.
Hopefully we get some sleep tonight.
Oh, that if I don't get sleep tonight, Mad Morty in England is going to hear me.
Yes. Oh, the pretty butterfly.
Which I might add, why is it all the cool people live like time zones away?
All my good friends live really far away.
Like, I couldn't drive there if I wanted to in one day.
Well,
in one day. If you get over 10 hours of driving, it's a bad idea to do it.
Well, the one friends we could.
That would be pushing it.
And it would be pushing it, but...
Yeah, okay, we have... I forgot your exact location, sorry, but we could probably visit 1 or 2 groups. But, like, all of the others, I think we have one group over here to the east.
We have, like, a group that's in Maryland, a group that's in Texas.
Several in England.
A lot in England. I do have, I have one friend that I have a couple friends that I can visit in a day. Because
we have a couple of them we hung out with them on Wednesday. Which was
true.
Entertaining in and of itself, because for the first time ever, I wasn't the only guy.
Yes.
Stitching.
Wednesday was guild meeting day.
And I think that guy thought it was hysterical, because like, another guy!
Yes. Apparently, he was at the lunch meetup the Monday. I wasn't there because I was with the girls. I'm like, well...
And he brought his daughter.
Yes.
Which, considering the age of his daughter...
Everybody was like, wait a minute, that was his daughter? So, I'm not even kidding. So several of the Monday lunch, the needlework lunch bunch on Monday came out of the Needlework Guild. So several of the members, that were there on Wednesday were at lunch today, and all of them were like, "Wait, that was his daughter?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was."
I actually don't know if she was of drinking age. I know she was old enough to get married.
She's old enough to get married because she talked about her husband,
but she definitely looked like low 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely looked young for his age.
Mm-hmm. And he might have had she might have been born when he was, early 20s.
He just looks like one of those people where from 40 to 60, good luck figuring out his age.
Sure. Yeah.
How many women know guys like that? Where it's like, you're what age? I thought you were 40. No, I'm 60. You look like you're... Because some guys just don't age in that range. They just literally, if their hair doesn't go completely gray, you wouldn't know. That's guys.
And then there are some guys where they're like 25 and they look like they're 12.
And then there are some guys who are like 50 and they look like they're 12.
Right?
And they are mad about it too. It's like, I'm 50 years old and I've actually, at least once a year, I have to have a conversation with the police because the liquor store calls the police thinking I have a fake ID. And this one time I had to call the police in order to get my ID back. Because they thought I was a kid. Yeah, I heard that rant on the internet one time and I thought it was hysterical. I knew somebody who was 10 years my senior. I was 22. He didn't believe her ID, and I had to buy the alcohol for her. And I was like, dude, she's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? I'm being dang serious. And he's like, looked back at the ID and went, whoa. I'm like, yeah. Thank you for having me listen to this the entire drive home.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we move on to whips?
Okay. The introduction is something for videos.
I know we took a really long intro, but we've chatted, so.
Wow, even when the squirrels are tired, they're energetic. ADD, gotta love it.
We're just squirrely.
Boop time.
Whips.
Boop.
Okay.
Okay, this is a solo, right?
As of right now, it's a solo.
This is Ink Circle's Tangled Fire. I got a little bit of stitching in.
Such a pretty pattern.
I got that part done here.
Mm-hmm.
Not much, but I'm not.
A little bit. This is a 16 count Ada. Currently, it is a solo.
It's a cool solo. She wants to redo it.
So, one of these times when you work on this, I will bring out the project. A friend, somebody ordered some fabric for a project. I dyed the fabric for her, sent it on. She did not like the linen, and she wanted it on even weave. So I took what was left of that bottle of fabric dye, put it on some even weave. Looked nothing like the original fabric. There was enough left that I could dye a piece of linen with that, and the linen turned out to look like the even weave, not the original fabric. So I thought maybe something had gotten into the dye that changed the color. So I just went ahead, mixed up some new dye, put it on the fabric, looked fine, sent it off to her. It was great. What was left of the bottle got put on the shelf with the other bottles that have extras on it. When he got Tangled Fire for his birthday, it had been sitting there for 6 to 9 months, probably 9 months, closer to 9 months. He said he wanted a nice sky bluey fabric for Tangled Fire, which was the color that she had ordered. So I took that bottle, which I knew nothing had gotten into, dyed his piece of fabric for it, And that's the color that came out. That is what the other two pieces looked like. And it's what I'm doing.
So basically, it has some kind of degrading component into
Yeah,
it.
it's what I'm doing Citrus Heart on. So for some reason the color changes when it sits. Apparently, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I'm going to mix up some and yes.
If you do name it, can you please name it a really stupid name? Because I
What?
think it'd be funny. Can we name it Han Solo?
Yes, we absolutely can name it Han Solo.
And if that's a copyright thing, name it Hans Solo.
Han Solo. We have to figure out how to make a play on words for make it Han Solo. But yeah, I have no idea.
Just that's what it's called. If anybody asks, it was a random thing I thought was funny.
Yeah, I have no
idea.
idea.
Don't need more in life. If anybody wants a logical explanation, it's cool. Should always be a valid answer.
Yes.
And if it's not, you need new friends.
This is true.
Because you should always be accepting of your friends and what they think is fun.
Well, one would hope.
No, there is no hope. If you consider them a friend, they should do that. And if they don't, they're not a good friend.
It's true.
And I'm the person.
I may not think it's my. It may not be my thing, but if it's your thing, go for it.
Yep. And if somebody can't give you that, do what I did. Peace.
Of course, I'm also the person that's like, look, I don't care what you do with your own life, if it does, as long as it doesn't affect me. If I need to call you something other than what is apparent, make sure I'm aware of it, and we're good.
The only thing I ever say to her, it's like, it looks cool, not my style, so don't get it for me.
Exactly.
Because that's actually happened where I said something was cool, trying to be nice, and I'm like, that's cool for you to use. And they went, ew.
I've had that happen before. I'm like, it's cool, but it's not my style.
Yeah, and I'm weird. And also, I'm spoiled because I get to choose the colors when I get things out because I have this awesome, lovely woman who happens to know how to do that.
I do. So let's get into my whips. I stitched quite a bit for it being a warm pool week last week. So let's start with this. I pulled out Lace Corset by Alexandra Adelaide. This is the project that I bought this pattern after I had bought the floss for it. I am using the very awesome...
What?
This was a Silks for You Silk of the Month. And it's in the plastic bag, and it's not going to look very great. And I do apologize, but I'm not going to take it out because it's a little bit messy. It is PR 177. And this was a floss of the month, and I was like, that's amazing. I have to buy it. So I bought it.
It's 2 of her 3 favorite colors, and it goes back and forth.
I did really think I had this pattern or a similar pattern, but I didn't.
By the way, if you have that, do you think you'll have plenty of that left when you're done?
I don't know. Don't you know?
Let me know. Guess why?
Why?
Ink circles. One of the smaller ink circle patterns.
Yeah, that's true. I could do small ink circles with it.
No, I was going to do it.
But I really did think I had this pattern because when I first saw this pattern, I was like, ooh, I like that. I want it. I never got it for some reason. So
I'm waiting for you to open up a bin you haven't opened up in a year and go, oops.
no, because I put most of my patterns in one spot.
Okay. I'm just saying we've done that.
We'll talk about the missing cross stitch stuff in a minute. But, so I put it on 32 count Rapunzel by the Slovak Farm. I mean, yes.
I'm just really smart. Let down your hair.
You know, I saw somebody fabric, nice, perfect serge. Oh, this is zigzagged on this side. Oh, it is zigzagged. It just apparently didn't trim. You know, I trim it, I iron it. Not with me. So I did. 622. I just mathed that in my head because I didn't math it on my paper. Stitches on it, and I applied it to 2 monthlies. I am not reading the poem every single time I do a monthly this month because they took a poem. What Carrie and Sharon did was they took a poem called Embroidery, and I forget who it's by, and they broke it into 10 parts, and those are your 10. You have to relate something. You have to relate your project to something in that part of the poem. It would be really confusing if I didn't read the whole thing every single time. So this was applied to 2 monthlies. It's pretty. So yes, 622 stitches. I love this. I need to stitch on this more.
Ready for random comments from your husband?
What?
That is a pattern I don't think a guy can stitch without getting looks.
Yeah, maybe.
So if I was to stitch it, I would actually try to put Tim Curry's head on it.
Oh, Jesus.
You get the reference, guys.
I'm not going to be able to stitch on that for a hot minute. Thank you.
I did not mean it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's just like I want to stitch on that some more. It's going to have to sit for a little bit to get that mental image out of my head. Because Tim Curry did not make an attractive woman. I think he was trying to be a woman.
No,
Actually.
he was literally just trying to be weird.
Yes.
Like, they weren't trying to be anything. They were just being weird.
That is not the right chart. Do I not have it in here? No. It's not in. Whatever. Oh, nope. I don't need a cover photo for this section. Okay. So in one of the groups I'm in, Floss in Space, it's space themed stitching game. Currently my team is in space school. We have different classes.
Academy.
Okay, Space Academy. We're in Space Academy.
Sorry, the sci-fi nut just went. I've never heard it called anything but Academy, and
We're
I
the
don't
Rebel
know why.
Alliance. You want to see what our picture is? I'll show you that later. Anyways.
Just stop here. Just go. Put the picture in, then keep going.
I don't know. I have to figure out if I can put the picture in.
Do you want me to hit stop and start real quick?
No, that's not the problem. Anyways. So, At came to visit.
Go for the legs.
And we had to stitch on the... At is just what throws us curveballs in our adventures in Floss in Space. There's a couple things, but At's the main one. And we had to stitch on the same thing for 24 hours. So Wednesday afternoon, started Wednesday at noon through to Friday at noon. So I wanted to pick a project that I could apply to the last 2 weeklies I had, and I could work monthlies into at that point. So I pulled out Fall on the Farm because I knew I still needed to do my Sal, and I needed to still do my one prompt with a female on it. Even though technically I was supposed to work on Supernaturals last week, I knew I could fit this into monthlies. I wasn't super sure about Supernaturals, and I just wanted to make it easy on my brain. So.
No problem with that.
So, I did 508 stitches on this. This is a piece of Dirt Road by the Slovak Farm. I finished block 2, as you can see completely, and I started on block 3. I left the cover photo to block 3 over yonder. I am missing chart number 4. I have no idea where it is. That is 3 of my stitchy things currently that is missing. So I get these on automatic from Hoffman's, and I get 4 of them. I have 2 people who buy them and myself. And I'm missing 2 of the chart for number 4. They're somewhere. It's just a matter of I'm not entirely sure where I put them.
If there are cat teeth prints on it, I'm going to laugh my bum off.
I'm also missing an entire box of DMC Blanc. An entire box. I think I maybe took 1 skein of it out because I had bought the box because I used that much white.
You know what? Next time you should just go for a cone. It's harder to lose.
Apparently. The other thing that's missing is a piece of fabric. I've stitched through everything on all of my 35 projects, all of my 30-some whips, except for one, which is Mini Steam Heart. I had bought a big piece of a yard of 20 count Easy Grit Ada to restart General Store and restart Mini Steam Heart. I swear I cut it to restart General Store. I'm actually going to take General Store upstairs tomorrow and measure it. I can't find the other piece of fabric if I actually cut it. So I'm going to remeasure General Store. So I now have 3 stitchy things that are missing in this house.
It's not a big house.
It's not a big house.
What? My brain is firing on some cylinders.
And I only got 508 stitches on it over that 48 hours because Wednesday was hotter than Hades. It was like 96 degrees, something like that. 90-some degrees. So I was in the pool a lot. Thursday was hot, so I was in the pool a lot. Friday was warm until mid-afternoon, and then it rained. But by that point, the event was over, so I switched projects. Yes, dear.
Ready for ADD powers go?
What?
I think if Mad Morty wants to do a cone of doom, she should take a cone and stitch a Death Star.
There you go. I need to pause the video for a second. And we're back.
Hi, boy! Whatever the heck that is.
Okay.
Salutations! There it goes. That's work.
Okay, so
Needle pulling thread.
yes, that's what we do.
Squirrel!
Moving along.
Literally.
Yes, squirrel. I pulled out Farm Market. Is that what the name of this is? Farmer's Market. By Mill Hill. It's Button and Beads Kit by Mill Hill. I started this on the plasticky, paper stuff. You know it. You love it.
No.
And
not the second part.
For an ornament, I can live with it. This, no. I was struggle bussing. I think, no, it's not completely tore, but I wasn't feeling it. So I put it on a piece of fabric. This is a piece of Dirt Road. This is a piece of 14 count Ada Dirt Road. You will notice that it is far more gray than the even weave. Don't ask me. And I can do it without the background on the fabric too. Because you know how it's plastic paper. You gotta do the background.
I just had a really cool idea.
What?
Cut out around this. Put a magnet on the back.
I actually may do that. That's actually a really good idea. I may do that. Make it into like a magnet.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking needle minder.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
I have those every now and then. And we might want to hurry it up.
I can do it without the fabric, or I can do it without the background, which is nice because that's less stitching. I did finish the tomato. I was sitting here stitching like, why is there orange in my tomato? Well, it does look good. And I started, this is a piece of cauliflower. I will probably stitch the background on the center section that says Farmer's Market, only because this is just backstitch. So I think it'll be needed. And then I got to the beading portion of the program, and I was like, crap, I can't find my little beading plate that I made with resin. So I went to something else that I knew I had. It's a diamond painting tray. For those of you who don't know, I know I tried diamond painting years ago when I first started the Flosstube thing, because that was becoming a thing. I didn't like it. I have recently found a little kit of diamond paintings that I like, so I am doing it. But my little diamond painting tray worked excellent for the beads, and when I was all done, the little pour spout, right back into the bag. So that was kind of cool. That was fun. But I got 310 stitches in on Farm Market. I use that for a monthly. It's fixing to storm. So, I think this is my last thing. Yeah, lace corset, Fallen Farm. No. I have 2 more things. I'm clustered today, sorry. Merry Christmas, y'all. I would like to illustrate something for you guys. See how the cover of the pattern is discolored? It's from sitting up against the vinyl on the back. Be careful with your vinyl front bags. That's all I'm going to say.
You actually mentioned that's one of the girls at the daughter of the guy.
Yes. I say it to everybody because I've had several people with my hand-dyed fabrics, and they're like, why is this funny colored now? And I said, well, did you leave it on your key snap? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's why the little tag says do not store it long-term against plastic. Don't be very careful storing your stitching stuff long-term against plastic, people.
That reminds me I need to move something in one of my other bags.
Yes, so I did 645 stitches on this. This was something with 2 floss colors on it, or 2 separate brands of floss on it, because I'm using DMC Victorian Motto, and I think there might even be something else going on in here that I pulled out of my stash. And then I used it for a monthly. I am chugging along on that boot. I think I am down to all the light tan. Yes, I'm down to all the light tan fill in on the top part of the boot. So, and then I'll just have the heel and the most stitch heavy, the most tedious is the boot area, because you've got the holly coming out the top of it. There's there's a piece of pine bough on the bottom. So, chugging along on that. Everybody thinks it's really cute. This is what I took last Monday to stitching. Everybody's like, oh my god, that's so cute. I'm like, I know, that's why I'm stitching it.
Somebody really wants attention.
I guess.
He doesn't let you hold him. See? Unless he really wants petted.
And then my yesterday lack of sleep induced psychosis. Yesterday was Raven Queen's day. I think technically yesterday was supposed to be the ornaments, which took the place of cardinal points. At this point, I had moved and crossed stuff out so much. I needed to rewrite my active whip list anyways, because I was out of space on the paper. I had several things that were done. So I just did that too yesterday. And Raven Queen was yesterday. Next week I'm going to work on ornaments only because Sunday is our travel home day from Seneca Lake, from Senecaville. It's only about a 2-hour drive. It's only about a 2-hour drive, and we usually leave early afternoon. So I will have stitching time on Sunday evening, but I wanted something that wasn't going to require a ton of concentration. So that's how it's panned out at this point for my little list. I had a finder in here. There's a lot of papers. Mirabilias, there's a lot of papers because of how the pattern is. which don't get me wrong, I appreciate that the pattern is good sized to see. I did 2 of the monthlies on her, so I did 659 stitches, which
She's near done.
no, she's not. So her right side is near done. I have some stuff on the bottom of her right side here. But I have all of this on her left side left to do. And I have to finish the dress. There's a lot on that bottom of the dress. But I am saving the dress for last because it is my absolute favorite part. So I'm doing all of it. I'm doing the castle, you know, I'm doing the background, the castle towers and stuff first because I really want to save all of this dress for last. I realized when I was working on the center column of her dress, I was going to lose motivation if I finished that dress first. So I also think I am taking off the border. I only have the top border done. I think I'm just going to take off the single stitch border on her. We'll see when I get it all done. But I just feel like I can. I don't know. So that has been my stitching for the week. Sorry that this has been a little disjointed and weird. We do have some haul.
I was going to say skip that till next week, finish this up, because I don't know when the weather's coming in.
We're good.
Okay.
I do have some haul, so let's go to haul. It's not a lot of haul.
Okay. 1 second.
Haul.
Y'all.
So Needlework Guild, freebie table stuff. That's all the haul we have.
Shepherd's Bush Printworks. And this is called Witch's Moon. It says, witches, cats, and a flying broom, pumpkins grow in the full bright moon. So I don't have the button, so I have to find one.
What's the button look like?
A little witch.
Oh, might not be able to find one, but
hey, well, we'll just find a little needle minder that fits that. Put that on there permanently.
Yeah, if I can find a little needle minder that looks like that. Okay. This is, what is this? It is an acorn. It is a patchwork acorn. It's called Acorn Hunt. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name of that. Catadiddle? Catadiddle? Okay. I just think that's super cute. It's super little, but I think it's super cute because it's like a little patchwork acorn, but it's different browns. A heart in hand. Small things sampler. Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. Plum Streets Samplers Sampler House, number 5. Yep. I picked this up. I looked at Juanita and I said, Juanita, do I love this enough to stitch that whole big, huge house? She goes, it's really cute.
That's not a big, huge house.
It is a big house. And it is really pretty. And I need to figure out what color it is stitched in because I may sub it out for something more variegated. I think it's stitched in chili pepper, but I'm not sure. And then I got this little Stitch World leaflet called Old Time Kitchen. Aren't those adorable? Those are adorable. They're really not all that big either. They're about 50... The biggest one is 58 wide by 78 high. Everything else is like under that. Everything else is under that, so I think it's really cute. That's all. Let's go on to plans and announcements.
Button pressing time.
Button pressing time. Plans and announcements. So we decided, we had a discussion yesterday, in the pool because somebody was stressing out. What were you stressing out over?
It's like a month until skill meeting, and she's already done her companion piece of what I'm doing, and I haven't got as much work as and I need to get but my body is
We've got about a month until the Needlework show for the Needlework Guild. And last year, when we started Evanora and Claire, Joe's idea was to put them in the Needlework show together. I have Claire done. He does not have Evanora done. And he was very stressed out about getting it done because he still has quite a bit to do on it. And I said, don't stress yourself out. We will wait until next year.
And it's not technically, like, she could easily get it done. I don't know how to bead. I'm going to have to learn.
And I think it's something that we should just wait until next year. There is nothing in the Needlework Guild, in the rules for the show that say they have to be stitched in a certain amount of time.
Oh, I know.
We don't even get our pieces judged, and I want them put in the show together because when we do put them in the show, the year we put them in the show, I am specifically going to say these need to be hung up together because they're companion pieces. And that's why we did them, and we did them as companion piece because, we're husband and wife.
Though today, probably not stitching because my brain is drained, but probably a half hour Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe try to get a little bit in on Friday. Then Monday, I'm going to be trying to get a little bit, like a half hour in at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually found out that Support Daily 30 actually got their name.
Yes, it is.
I didn't know that.
Cheryl's going to message me and be like, smack him for me.
You never mention that particular thing because you never do it.
And he's right. I don't. I tried doing it and I just would forget. And so, but yes, Daily 30 there is an option to do 30 minutes, just do 30 minutes a day, or just do the yearly, which is like 3 to 4 pieces focused on each month. So, yeah. So.
Your plans?
My plans? Mana. Do, 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 do. Sorry, I had to. I hope that is stuck in y'all's head now. You don't have any idea what that's from, do you?
I do, and I don't at the same time, which is why it's irritating. I know I've heard it before. I cannot remember exactly what
I can't sing too much of it so we don't get it, because I don't want to get us copyrighted. Muppets.
I know, I couldn't remember which Muppets.
It's the one with the snoot.
No, which show or movie it was from.
I don't remember
okay.
Muppets partner is.
Like, I remember the song. I remember the Muppet doing it. I don't remember what that's from.
That's how Carrie opened the weekly thing. Like, that's at the very top of the first paragraph of the description. Because we're doing Muppets Week on Daily 30. So, to briefly give you a touch on what our prompts are. Stitch on a whip you can relate to books or music. I mean, I have a whip that is called Sampler Book. And I have multiple Bell projects.
Snow White was a book.
Snow White was also a musical. Disney's musical.
Snow White was in everything.
Snow White was in everything. Yes.
Jeez, I'm surprised we didn't have a Muppet. We're the only two people in it were actually Snow White and the Queen. Everybody else is a Muppet.
This is true.
Oh my God, the Seven Dwarfs is Muppets.
Oh God, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome.
That would be.
Because it would actually be the right size.
They would be. But being as that I'm at the reset point on all of my whips, Sampler Book.
That works.
That works. Stitch on a whip from your favorite designer.
All of them?
He's not wrong, people.
But one of these.
Mirabilia is one of my favorite designers.
One of?
Yes. I have several.
That was the one I knew I could buy you something from her, and I knew I was safe getting you that.
This is true. I also really love hands-on design, stitching with the housewives, Lindy Stitches. Some of her stuff hasn't really spoke to me lately. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So I went with Lindy Stitches. I actually already finished it, but you're not gonna see it till next week. because he stitched on it today. I went with Lindy Stitches, shredding
Okay.
Tom.
Next.
A stitch on the whip where you had to frog a large part of it. This one actually is a challenge for me because I am a proponent for fake it till you make it. And fudging.
Honey,
What?
would completely restarting the project count?
I don't know.
Technically, you frogged it.
I mean, technically. I do know that I had to frog a significant amount of the snow in winter solstice when I first started it.
Don't do that one. It's easiest.
I'm just gonna do that's the one I'm gonna
Yes.
pick. Stitch on a whip that is part of a series.
You have choice overload on that
Getting
one.
a little challenged on that part.
Your only challenge is picking.
No, not challenged. Tired. We've done that one a lot. I actually...
Isn't that like at the bottom of every prompt?
Well, yeah, there is the Sal. Well, see, there's the thing. So the bonus is a Sal or a series. Technically, I don't think, like... I'm not sure if, like, Tale as Old as Time and Supernaturals would be considered a series or if they're just considered a Sal, because they're called a Sal. You know, Fall on the Farm is a series. Technically, Hawk Run is a series because there are multiple Hawk Run patterns. And Calla Lily Bride is part of the Wedded Bliss or Bridal Bliss series from Nora Corbett. She's done several. She has Bridal Bliss Pixies. She has the Bewitching Pixies. I don't have any of the lied. Claire was a bewitched pixie. So I think I'm gonna pull out Calla Lily Bride and work on it. I tend to avoid her because I am doing her in almost all metallic because I want that look with her. But I've got a lot of that done, so I just kind of need to plow through her because I think she will.
Things I couldn't get away with saying.
That's what she said. So
Technically, that's what he said.
So I think I'm going to go with Calla Lily Bride. Stitch on a whip that has something both natural and man-made in it.
Most of your stuff.
I have multiple options here.
I'd say about 75% of everything you've got, because you love farmhouses with trees in them.
Mm-hmm. He's not wrong. So
Hawk Run.
Exactly. I have so many things that I can apply that to. I'm actually probably going to save that until closer to the end of the week and see if I possibly want to like double up the stitches on. I might double up winter solstice stitches and do 600 on it this week. Just because I don't feel like changing projects quite so frequently lately. And then, of course, we have our Sal of choice, which will be Supernaturals this week. So, now it's stuck in my head. So that's the plan. And like I said, Mini Steamheart I need to figure out fabric to restart it. I have thought about the next. I have put some thought into next year already. I know some people think that's ridiculous. I know that for Mayhem for March, I'm not probably going to do 30 ornaments again this year. I'm probably only going to do 15. And I was thinking about this. You are not paying attention to me. I was thinking about this today. If I do find a few more that I want to do and it's more than 15, if I go from the beginning of March until my April 6th birthday, technically I could start 18 if I started one every other day and then have a big start on my birthday. So, I know that I'm going to do a big start for my birthday again, because I always do. I like doing that. So, and that's just how I'm going to work it out. If I end up with only 15 ornaments, I don't really know where I'm going to end up with ornaments this year, because I've worked through most of the just cross stitch ornament issues that I have. I don't have a lot of the back issues. There is a DVD set I could buy, excuse me, to get them all, but it's like $25.
That's it.
A CD-ROM set. Yeah, I think it's like $25.
It's probably a DVD ROM because they fit more data.
Well, I'm not sure. I'll pull it up.
Let me put it to you as simply as I can. You want to like drop the information for that so I can find it, please? Thank you.
I'll find it
so that I can get it for you.
And you might even be able to do it digitally. I will find it. I do know that my December start all the things is going to be the Dimensions kit with the Golden Retriever and the red truck and the red barn, because I really want to stitch that, and I really want to get that started. This month, next weekend is Start All the Things weekend, so I am taking one of those 2 stamped kits. I think we decided on the succulents. I'm going to take that with us so I can stitch on it. A little bit easier to stitch on when I'm chatting, because I don't have to follow a pattern as closely. I know that in October I am starting, finally, Rags to Riches. Beth Ann, who is Stitching by Twilight, I think. Yes. If it's wrong, it'll be corrected in the drop-down box. Is starting a Joan Elliott sampler for her birthday in November. Her birthday's in November. Sorry. Her birthday's in November. So I'm going to start my Rags to Riches Joan Elliott with her, because the Joan Elliott samplers are pretty, but they're not my thing. So I'm going to start this. And yes, I'm doing it all as one piece. I've literally had the pattern and the piece of fabric since the retreat in Pennsylvania in 2016. Why have I not started this?
Years.
Exactly.
You waited 6 years for anything?
People, he's not wrong.
She literally lost it for 4 years.
I don't know why. No, I would go through patterns to look for something. I'd go through the Joan Elliott stuff. I'd look at that. I really want to start that. I mean, I went as far as putting it and the fabric for it in a project bag. Yes, I realize Cinderella isn't a Beauty and the Beast bag.
Disney Princesses deal with it.
I still have not started it. I'm like, nope. So, I need to go through because it is a mighty floss list, because it is quite big.
This is probably what's been stopping you.
I do believe this is what's been stopping me. So I'm gonna go through what flosses I have. So I have until November. So I'm gonna pull flosses out of stash that I have. I'm gonna look through flosses in the store inventory that I have, and then I'm gonna buy what I need from there. Which buying it will also help me fill out the store inventory flosses. Yeah. So that's plans for right now. This is gonna be a long video.
Mm-hmm.
Apologize in advance, people. Oh wait, you're already done with it if you made it this far. Okay.
So you just apologize.
I apologize. I hope y'all stuck around. I hope you all enjoyed.
This crazy train.
Yes. What would we like the people to do?
Have a nice day. Please like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, thingy me bobby, all the YouTube stuff. But seriously, please subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. We want to be able to get to the point where we can post videos like, my husband's running on 3 hours of sleep. We're going to film tomorrow.
Yes. And that was one of the things Morty and David talked about. She's like, they have been doing this for 4 years, and they still don't even have 500 subscribers. That is not right.
No, that what that's called is the YouTube algorithm, and us are not friends.
I know.
But let's get out of here.
All right. We're out for the week. We will see you next week. Now, the plan is to film on Monday because we'll be home Sunday evening. And he took the day off Monday for rest and relaxation. The plan is to film on Monday, but if we have completely exhausted ourselves, we may not film until Tuesday.
And I'm just gonna. I have my question for the comment. How many of you are like me? And because we drive, the day after we get back, I take off work to recuperate from driving. Because, well, have you met the people out there? We actually don't live in that bad of a place compared to where I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
And still, it's like brains and drains. Okay, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, because the storm is rolling in now. So I want to get off of the computer before the storm rolls in. We will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.